Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I love you, sending you a very big virtual hug wherever you are on the earth plane in this now moment. I want to talk about how humanity is in an abusive relationship with a very small amount of humans that are in these large systems that have been controlling humanity. Now, first, I want to just preface this by saying that this is how the human evolution shifts. So everything that's unraveling is divine. You have to be able to see the shadow of the collective in order to shift the collective into higher states. So you have to see the lower states, you have to feel it, and you have to choose to no longer be experiencing the lower states in order to shift into the higher states. Same thing with your own body, right? I've talked about this so many times. When we shift, when we heal, we have to look at the density or the shadow or the trauma. We have to look at it, see it, observe it, feel it, and then we choose to release and step out of it, be in different ways. This is what's happening to the human collective. So what we're watching right now is just how controlled we are as a human collective, how fear is the number one culprit in controlling us, and how there are systems, authority that we have allowed to control us, and it is a very abusive relationship. And it is up to us, humanity, to choose how long we want to be in this abusive relationship. How long is this going to last until we choose to step out of it? And it is a choice for every human. Now, when there's enough humans that are choosing to step out of the abusive relationship and make a massive change, then the rest of the human collective starts to come along. So who knows how long this process, this experience, this physical shift that we're in right now, who knows how long it's going to last, but it's up to us. So here's what I mean when I say we're all in an abusive relationship with authority figures or systems that are in place like the government, the media, the science community. Now, I'm not saying that these people in there are evil and bad. I'm saying that there are a small amount of humans that, believe it or not, just like a huge corporation, there is a CEO, there is a board of directors, right? So you look at a huge corporation with 30,000 people and you say, how is somebody running this? There's a small group of people running it. There is a small group of people, believe it or not, that's running the show right now, that has an agenda and has for a very long time. This is a hard concept. There's cognitive dissonance. You can't imagine that humans would be creating this sort of like dark evil. But here is how it relates to or parallels an abusive relationship. Okay, imagine if you've known anyone that's been in an emotional or physical abusive relationship, or you yourself. In the beginning, everything seems pretty good. The abuser is really charismatic. The abuser doesn't show up and say, I'm going to abuse you. I'm a jerk, right? And I'm going to take advantage of you, and I'm going to pull you away from your family and friends. I'm going to isolate you. I'm going to make you feel very insecure, like you can't trust yourself. You can't believe your own truth, your own voice, your own resonance, and I'm going to control you. They don't do that. They're very smart. They're very charismatic. They come in and everybody, for the most part, likes them. Some people can pick up on like something seems fishy here, right? So you go along, you or your family or your friends, whoever's in this relationship, starts to have a relationship with this individual. And what the abuser does is it's a very small trickling of abuse that begins to happen so that the abused person doesn't realize that they're about to be abused or they are currently being abused. So it's droplets. Don't do this. Be afraid of this. Be careful of this. Why don't you do this instead? Why don't you wear this instead? You look beautiful, but you would look more beautiful in this. God, I really don't like when you hang out with those people. Just hang out with me, right? One night, maybe there's an argument that ensues and then you get hit in the face, right? And then the abuser says, oh my God, I am so sorry, but why did you make me do that, right? What happens with these external systems is that they slowly begin to tell you what's for your best. Make sure you do this. Make sure you don't do this. We've got your best interest at hand. Why did you do this? If you do these things, we're going to have to do this to you, etc., etc. And we just buy into it. We believe it. They're taking care of us. But as the relationship goes along, the abuse gets bigger, gets louder and louder, and the abuser gets more potent. It gets stronger. The abuse starts to get stronger and stronger. And you start to get hit more. And you're getting beat down. You're getting beat down emotionally or physically. And you start thinking that there's something wrong with you. Right? Well, you bet there's something wrong with you. This abuser must know something that you don't know. And they start to take you away from your family and friends and isolate you. And what's happening in the external, and what has happened, is that the systems in place, especially the media and the governments, they take us away from us. They're the authority. They know what's best. You should only be listening to them. They've got all the information. They have all the science. They have all the statistics. How dare you listen to somebody else? In fact, we'll censor you so that you don't listen to somebody else. And we'll punish you if you do things that we think are not for your best interest, which is what's happening right now. And then what starts to happen is it's all your fault. It's all your fault that you have bruises on your face. It's all your fault that you feel like you can't succeed without this person. So what the systems do is they say, hey, if you don't wear a mask, you are going to hurt other people. It's your fault. If the corona it spreads, it's your fault. If you don't get the jab, it's your fault that other people get sick and die. Then what we do is we start looking out and we start blaming all the other humans. We start blaming. It's a very, very unhealthy, sick trauma response that we have with these systems, that we have with an abuser. And the longer we're in it, the more difficult it is to get out. And everybody around you, if you're in an abusive relationship, everybody around you knows that something's not right. So the people that are awake right now are looking at the humans that are still in the system saying, listen, you're in an abusive relationship. You're in an abusive relationship. And the crazy thing is that in the beginning of this relationship that you had with the abuser looked charismatic, charming, right? And all your friends and family, they're like, I can't imagine that this person would be doing this to you. You can't imagine this is the person you fell in love with. How could this person turn out to be this way? There's no way. Cognitive dissonance. When you're in an abusive relationship, it's very hard to wrap your head around. I've been in one. It's very hard to wrap your head around how this person that loves you so much could do this to you. Which is why you stay in it it's a trauma bond. And there's a part of you that believes you deserve it. There's a part of humanity that believes they deserve this that's happening. To be told what to do. To allow the passports to roll out. This is a trauma that the collective holds. And so when this abuse starts to come out and say, wait, I'm in an abusive relationship, there's two things that happen. There's a group that says, yes, you are, get out. And there's a group that says, no, you're not. So-and-so would never abuse you. What did you do to get abused if he did or if she did abuse you? It's your fault. They can't see that this person that's so charismatic, that's so nice, that has, the world's best interest at hand, that is a philanthropist, gives millions of dollars away, helps the needy, etc., etc. How could they possibly be an abuser? Look around. Look at abusive relationships, especially with affluent abusive relationships. On the outside, everything looks cookie cutter perfect. Everything. And then you go inside the house and it's a freaking tornado in there. This is what is occurring for the entire human collective with these systems that are in place that have been controlling humanity for a very long time. And we've got two sort of bands right now. We've got the band that says, oh yeah, you guys are in an abusive relationship. Here, I'll help you out. And they're being censored over and over again. Just like if you were the abused, you would be like, shut up, I'm not ready. Shut up, I'm not ready. Shut up, I'm not ready. And then you've got the band that's like, there's no way that would happen. There's no way that would happen. There's no way that would happen. They would never do that. They would never do that. They would never do that. You know, your husband or your wife is an amazing person. They take care of you. They love you. Meanwhile, you've got bruises all over your face. They can't see it. They can't hold it yet. This is what we are facing. And here's what's happening. Whichever way this goes, meaning however long it takes for the abused to wake up, humanity shifts into higher states. Humanity accesses heaven on earth. It's just a matter of linear time. It's a matter of how long is the human going to allow themselves to be abused. Look around and start to ask yourself, and this isn't just for my audience, but this is for all of the other humans that are still on the fence. Start to ask yourself, does this actually make sense what's happening? Is there really a pandemic? Is there really millions of people dying? A pandemic? What are the actual statistics? What are the actual statistics in the United States of states that have kept their state open for the most part and states that didn't? What are the COVID statistics? How many people have gotten COVID? How many people haven't? Research outside of the mainstream media. Research outside of the mainstream media. Who has been censored and why? What are they sharing? Most people don't want to go and do this. They don't want to look. It's easier to stay abused. It's easier to stay in the abusive relationship. That's why people stay in it. They stay in it for many reasons, but one is that it seems so challenging and difficult to step out and be who you are, to step back into you. And then ask yourself, or ask somebody else, if I followed my intuition, what would be the result? If I followed what was really in my heart, what I really wanted to do, what would be the result? Would I get banned? Would I get canceled? Would I get ridiculed? Will I not be able to see my grandchildren, my children, my family? Would I not be able to work? Will I not be able to fly? These are consequences if we don't follow the rules. The abuser is saying, hey, listen, if you don't do what I say, this is what's going to happen. Start asking these questions. Start looking around. Start critically thinking and start listening. We are designed to come back home here and follow this. If you're in an abusive relationship, you're designed to step out and come back home to you, to love you, to be with you, to hold you, to say it's okay, everything's going to be okay. How long are we going to let this happen, right? And we have to have compassion for those that are in the relationship. We have to have patience, and that's the hardest part of being awake to all of this. Is that there's if you have a loved one that's in an abusive relationship, imagine what it's like. You've got to love that person through it. You've got to hold compassion. You have to know that no matter what, they're going to get out of it. No matter what, they're going to get out of it. No matter what, humanity gets through this. But we have got to start to speak, be, follow our intuition, speak our intuition, be our intuition, more and more and more. Authenticity, so that we can step out of the abusive relationship that we have been in, so that we don't allow them to continue to control us even more. And the more, so if you're in a large group of humans and they're all being abused and you start to see 3, 4, 5 of them start to stand up and say, I'm not doing this, it affects the entire group that's abused. It affects them. They see it. They may not have the courage yet, but they see it. So be patient with yourself and humanity. Have compassion and empathy for yourself and humanity. I promise you that we get through this. It's just a matter of how are we going to do it. I love you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being on the front lines or the second lines or the third lines, wherever you are in this human journey. I promise you we get through this. I love you.